Got Your Eers On is brought to you by Tactical Legion Knives. Live from the campus of Tom Radio, under the direction of Guido, Scoot, and Johnson, it's the pride of podcasting. It's Got Your Eers On.
All right, everybody, hello and welcome to this week's episode of Got Your Ears On. Guido here along with Scoot.
Oh, my.
And Johnson.
I miss basketball, Guido.
I miss sports. What is going on? So, Johnson, we haven't played basketball now in what? Is it almost a week and a half?
It feels like
since there's been a game?
a coon's age.
2 weeks, almost 2 weeks. Yeah.
I can't confirm this, but I believe Oscar will be eligible the next time WVU plays basketball. Oscar will be playing for the Big Blue.
So West Virginia postpones their January 12th game against Baylor, their January 16th game against TCU, and their January 19th game this week against Oklahoma State, allegedly traveling to Manhattan, Kansas, to play K-State on Saturday. But no time has been confirmed. No network has been confirmed yet. It's been a thing. So WVU gets hit by the COVID bug, guys, and it couldn't have come at a worse time, I don't think.
Well, and it feels weird, Scoot, because I feel like I haven't been nervous or angry for like 2 weeks now. You know, it's odd. Every couple days I'm used to being really angry or anxious or nervous or and I haven't had that feeling. It's kind of weird. It's like, and I see these other I'm flipping channels, I see these other basketball games on, and it's like there's just like a void in my life right now.
Yeah, it's weird. It's definitely weird. It kind of has a feel like when we went into the postseason last year, where it just kind of shut off.
Yes, it does feel that way.
Right.
And you don't know what to do. Like, you just don't know. The only difference, I guess, would be is that a lot of your competitors are still playing, which would be different. But
right. But there's also been other games canceled because I think Iowa State, K-State postponed a game this week. And so, and the other part I think that's really strange about it, you know, for West Virginia is so you're not playing any games, but on top of that, you're not practicing either. You've got only 5 guys. Huggins said the other day he only has 5 guys that can practice right now, and one of those guys is injured and spending most of his time in the treatment room. That, you know, so you're down to 4 guys on the court running what, 2-on-2, like, and so that makes it odd. You're not practicing. I guess they hope to start practicing either Wednesday or Thursday of this week before the game. It's just a weird situation. And I guess the big question is, Johnson, is how much does this set the team back?
Yeah, and I think it's also kind of eye-opening that, you know, going through the stuff we were going to talk about tonight, you had mentioned that they've now reached the minimum games played to be in the NCAA tournament. So it's scary to think that we have to make note of that because, you know, do we get everybody healthy, either COVID or non-COVID, back? And then when they are healthy, to your question, I think, yeah, we all know that any kind of delay, any kind of downtime, it's not the best. It's not the best when you're in that repetition, that every 2-3 day repetition. And I think it's kind of unfortunate. It's unfortunate anyway, but it's unfortunate at a time when we're already working Jalen Bridges in. We're trying to deal with Oscar and Isaiah being out. We were already thinking that this new version of this team was kind of coming together in that road trip to Oklahoma, even though they lost that OU game, and that, you know, they've had some highs and lows in this new version of the team, but they were starting to gel. I think, you know, Scoot and I were talking about we actually like this new version of the team. So it feels like another kind of like stubbing your toe along the way of working these kinks out and getting everything going for the home stretch here. So yeah, it feels painful.
Well, and the other thing about it that's kind of crazy is that there was so much hype build around our team going into this season. And we were part of that hype. We were part of building that hype early on, Scooty. And then now, not only have you had issues with the team and players leaving and all of that, but now you also have this 2-week period where there's no practicing or little practicing, and the guys aren't together playing games, or they're all having a quarantine. And I just feel like the luster of this season has just completely rubbed off. And you've been the guy all along who's been like, don't worry, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen now, Scoot.
So, well, here's how I take this. I would much rather have this break now where maybe the majority are sick. I don't know if they are or not, but maybe the majority have tested positive, let's say. Maybe not sick per se, but tested positive. I would rather have that happen now than we get ready for a conference tournament, or, let's say we are a 4 seed or a 3 seed or even a 5 seed in the tournament, and then all of a sudden, kind of like the TBT, our season's over, cut short. Whereas right now, having this issue now, I think that gives us a better chance of potentially playing at the end of the season. I mean, there haven't been too many programs, to my knowledge, that have had to shut down multiple times. So I think that this maybe is I don't want to say you want to shut down at any time, but, you look at Gonzaga, they had to shut down at some point. So I think we'll be all right. A lot of times, too, even though we're not practicing and there's a little bit of a, break there, I think that sometimes you come back a little bit more fresh. Maybe you don't take things for granted as much. So there might be a little bit of buy-in more in what the coaching staff's trying to do. So I'll be interested to see how they come back. Now, is the game away? It's in Manhattan, you said, at the world-famous Octagon of Doom.
That's correct.
Home of Colin Klein, the best college football player maybe in the last 20 years, according to ESPN, when we last played with Colin Klein, the quarterback from Kansas State. You remember him? They called him like some sort of transformer name. I think they called him
Optimus Klein or something.
Optimus Klein, yes.
Optimus Klein, yeah, right.
Because he was amazing, and he ended up where professionally?
Well, and you mentioned the Octagon of Doom. You also have to deal with, some noise from the sideline when you enter the Octagon of Doom. Right?
Now, Johnson,
God.
will you be wearing your...
So if you hadn't thought about that yet...
Johnson, will you be wearing your Jacob Pullen beard? Will you bust out your Jacob Pullen beard?
Yeah, that was a great touch, wasn't it? That was like a whole venue full of Jacob Pullen beards there for a while, right? Remember that?
Yeah. And, I mean, not to dissuade any fans that might be listening, some rival fans. I'm sure we have a lot of Kansas State and maybe Kansas natives listening to our podcast.
I mean, I'm assuming.
But I would rank Kansas State a very close second. Maybe if Iowa State is 1A, Kansas State would be 1B in places no one really cares about.
Right.
I thought you were going to go Texas Tech, but I'll give you that. The other thing about this weird schedule, though, Guido, is now, and I just wanted to give a shout out to Josh Witt because he's our bud, but his tweet is the one that I kind of scrolled through and realized what it means. I was following WVU men's basketball's announcement of how these games are now getting kind of shuffled around, and Josh, he's at I'm Josh Witt. He tweeted out that, the Baylor game now gets rescheduled in the middle of the existing schedule. So now there's an upcoming 8-day stretch where WVU has to play Baylor back to back. So it's not bad enough that you're playing in this conference. You're playing top 10 teams all the time. Now you get the treat. I think he pointed out in an 8-day stretch, they go home versus Baylor. Then they have to go to Baylor. Then while they're on that road trip, they have to go at Texas. And then at TCU. So that feels like now in the moment of us talking about this, trying to get guys healthy, trying to get guys back on track, that feels brutal.
Well, in the Big 12 also this year, I don't know if anybody else noticed this, but they've put 11 days. So the regular season currently right now ends on February 27th, and the Big 12 championship tournament doesn't start until March 10th. So there are 11 days in there of downtime where they built that in for this particular reason, that games are going to get canceled. I mean, and let's be honest, the chances of us, even if we play in Manhattan on Saturday, making it through the rest of the schedule without getting another one canceled for some reason is probably pretty slim. So you're probably going to see a lot of these games also get moved somewhere between the 27th and 10th of March. And then, like you said earlier, Johnson, and in our show notes, WVU, all the Big 12 teams have now reached, and most NCAA Division I teams have now reached that magic number that requires them to get into the NCAA tournament. So I don't know. I think at the end of the day, the only thing you're looking at now is winning games to help you with or losing games to hurt you with your seeding in the tournament.
Yeah, right.
This idea of Manhattan, Kansas being the Little Apple. Does anyone really believe that they're the Little Apple?
I feel like we've talked about this. I feel like this has come out before on the show, Johnson. I feel like Scoot he's like
ticked about
very upset about Manhattan.
Well, and I think at least he's consistent, though. He's got some sore spots in the conference. I think Ames is one. I don't know if when we go back to historic Gallagher-Iba Arena at Oklahoma State, I think all of Scoot's angst kind of, if there was a seed from which this propagates out into branches, it is historic Gallagher-Iba Arena, Guido. I think that's what gets him going. So when we
I
talk
can't
about
wait till we
these
play on the court at Texas Christian University that somehow they've tried to mimic the texture and complexity of Mr. Dixon's hairdo. I think that's what they've used as the backdrop on that court, is not so much the scales of a frog, which I don't even think frogs have scales, but apparently horned ones do. But now you've got Jamie Dixon's hairstyle, I think, which is what they've used to stain the court with.
Yeah, it's a rough court to look at.
So Coach Huggins in his press conferences all week and this week has just continually talked about how he's never had to experience, he's never had this experience before in the middle of a season, things getting shut down, not having the ability to practice and work on things. And then he went on to talk about how on top of all of that, your competitors are still playing and there's no bottom in the Big 12. Like all the teams in the Big 12 are good. And so now, And I felt like listening to him on Friday when he did his, weekly Friday sports thing with Tony, I felt like he was trying, Johnson, to really temper expectations, to really make us be prepared for upcoming losses.
Yeah, and I think even though, wasn't it K-State specifically that had a pretty horrible loss to start the season? Wasn't that against like a Division III?
Fort Hays?
Yes, Fort Hays. I think, they've even largely kind of righted the ship. So I know where Hugs is coming from. Now, I would remind him, too, that I never thought there was a bottom in the Big East, in the old Big East, to be honest with you. Maybe you get a DePaul, I guess, every now and then. But I think for him, he's probably thinking like, even with a full, strong complement of all my guys going, this is a tough conference to bang around in. Now I've got all these obstacles. What am I supposed to do?
Do you think Huggins likes the Big 12?
I think if you pressed him, I would venture to. I wouldn't be shocked if he said no, just simply because of the grueling travel. I mean, I think they've now got it down to.
I agree.
They've now got it down to where they do these road trips and things, but I think that was only after, if I remember correctly, the first few years in the league, he had to protest until they kind of at least aligned things so they could do a couple games on a road trip and stuff.
I think he likes the competition. I don't think anyone really wants to be in a dog of a conference.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I think if he had his way, like most of us, we'd prefer to just stay on the East Coast, stay in at least Eastern time.
I think that with the Big 12 and with travel today, it's all flights, it's all airplanes, and I think, back in the Big East days, we would bus it to a lot of those. They weren't flying to all of those games. They were busing to a lot of those
you're
games
right.
too.
But I think with this, I think he's lamented before, his guy, no one else has to deal with what his guys have to deal with, getting home at 2 a.m. and then maybe getting a few hours of sleep and back at it the next day in some cases. So that's got to wear on you after over the course of a season.
So we don't have any. I mean, we have this game coming up, hopefully on Saturday, as the team will get back together and travel to K-State and play in the the Brumbish Coliseum. Is that what they call it? It's the real name of that place.
Yes,
it's the. And then we'll see what happens from there. Getting back into things.
Bramblage, maybe. Now I'm trying to remember.
Brumblage.
I don't know. I just remember Octagon
of Doom.
And I just remember I always liken Bruce Weber to, remember the storks from Finding Nemo? Remember that? Like, we've always kind of likened him to mine.
Yeah.
Like, he's always screaming. So that's going to be a delightful watch on Saturday if we get that game.
Seagulls?
Yeah, what did I say?
Yeah.
Storks.
Seagulls.
Oh, I meant seagulls.
Storks.
I guess.
Seagulls.
What?
They're birds.
It's all. I mean, it's foul.
Yeah.
Kansas State hasn't really been relevant since Frank Martin and Bob Huggins were on the sidelines.
Yeah, since Hugs was there. Yeah.
Like, since then, I mean, Bruce Weber, I got to believe that, like, until he got this job, did anyone think he was still in coaching? I didn't even, he had bounced around from Illinois.
Well, I think we're probably forgetting. I feel like he's had some really nice conference success with Kansas State. I feel like we're forgetting maybe a couple seasons ago.
Would you argue that he is Jim Leavitt's hair rival?
I don't know. Jim Leavitt, the lack of a neck makes me focus on other things than Jim Leavitt's hair a lot more than Bruce Weber. I don't know that I would make them
They're
rivals.
both very, very, very similar in my mind.
They both kind of speak from the neck, though, now that you say that.
Something to think about.
But so what you're saying, though, you still peg Bruce Weber with the Illini, is what you're saying.
Yeah, like if I think of Bruce Weber, I think that's the only time he's really coached anything is Illinois.
We're probably
Was he loud? Do we remember if he was he a loud coach when he coached there? I don't remember.
I don't remember thinking of him
and
that way. Yeah, I don't remember thinking of him that way.
Like, he is so annoying. I am not, that's the one game we're going to come back to is that guy yelling stupid stuff on the sideline. That's going to be annoying with no fans.
I was at the game last year in Morgantown when K-State played, and I was sitting in the 200 level, halfway up, and I could hear him as clear as day screaming, "Block out!" So
yeah, and I can remember it being distracting on the TV broadcast. Is that a fan?
It's
wait, that's Bruce Weber.
You know that my two daughters, one's going to end up going to Iowa State and the other will go to Kansas State. And then I'm going to be forced to have to wear some sort of paraphernalia.
It's going to all catch up to you. And
proud dad,
you're
proud
right.
K-State dad.
Yes, my daughter stickers goes to Iowa State on
I'll have the mug.
Yes.
Yeah.
It'll all catch up to you.
I can't wait.
Sylvester the Cyclone or whatever
It'll be
stupid thing's name is.
Sylvester. Is that you just made that up, but it's great, even if it's not real.
I don't think it is. I don't think it's real.
Well, from now on, it's Sylvester the Cyclone.
Well, we'll see what happens, guys, with some basketball. But let's move forward to a little bit of football talk. We have football things to talk about, which is kind of exciting. Congrats to Coach Brown. He was named the American Football Coaches Association on the Board of Trustees there. He's the representative from the Big 12. So I guess every Power 5 and Group of 5 schools conferences have one coach that represents them. Two freshmen named to True Freshman All-American, which are Zach Frazier from the offensive line and Prince Akeem Messidor on the defensive line. So that's
how
pretty
cool is that,
awesome.
Scoot? I mean, I think Prince Akeem was the first true freshman. Well, I don't know. Is Zach Frazier a true freshman?
Yes, both are true.
Because that's amazing. I mean, that we wanted to highlight that because that's not. Has that even happened for WVU in the past? I'm not really.
Well, what's interesting about Zach Frazier is not to make him seem average because he's obviously above average, but size-wise, he's not like some sort of enormous specimen where you walk into a room and then there's this giant. He's not. He's kind of I don't know. I don't know what he's listed at. I'm going to guess somewhere in the neighborhood of 6'1" to 6'2" at the most height wise, and then he's probably 260, 270 something maybe off. He doesn't seem very
I think
big.
Mostly what you're hearing is that he has like just amazing football IQ. That he's just he's got a really good football acumen. And then they talk about the other thing that they talked a lot about him was the size of his hands. So they talk about offensive linemen having and how important the size of your hands are, and how he has like whatever that is 9 inches of span on his hands, which is supposed to be ginormous. Scoot, I would imagine you're probably a good 8.5 inches.
Well, when I shake people's hands, it's as if I'm grabbing their nub because they can't even see their hands. Do you guys remember Phil Loadout from Oklahoma, who was like a behemoth of a man?
I remember the name. Yeah,
he's like a left tackle.
I do remember him.
Like he was like, I feel like he was like 7 feet and 500 pounds.
Yeah, he was. He was something. He was like 6'10" and like just shy of 400.
He was gigantic.
Dude, if you go
Zach Frazier, not in the same ballpark.
Not the same ballpark. So congrats to both Akeem and Zach on that. Other WVU football news, guys. In the Sports Illustrated way too early preseason poll for next year, West Virginia gets ranked 23rd nationally.
Some might argue that the title way too early might just be that way too early. Well,
there's been a lot of chatter, Scoot. There's been a lot of chatter out there on the Twitter sphere and Facebook world that Garrett Green's got more of a shot than I think most WVU fans think at being the starting QB.
I'm going to tell you right now, if Jarrett Dagey is the starting quarterback in 2021, I'm going to start taking down the tent at the base camp. I'm going to start folding the cots up. We're going to start rolling the sleeping bags.
You're going to let your Sherpa go, like take him off the payroll.
I'm going to say, hey, we'll see you later. You're on your own. You can head up the hill by yourself. The base camp, we're going to be, putting out the fires.
Well, don't you think this is also like we talked about the kind of the things that resonate after you win a bowl game? Doesn't this feel like that's more of that like post bowl game victory, good feelings, positive stuff? I don't think you find us in the way too early poll if we lose that game to Army.
No, I don't think we would.
And I agree with you. And in other interesting news, I'm actually surprised Austin Kendall's leaving for his third school. He actually came out in an interview last week, and they were asking more follow-up to the bowl stuff, and he said in the interview, we are not losing this damn game. And that's how he got into the game. He's like, coach said, you're going to get in. And he goes, we are not losing this damn game. And it's like, well, now Austin Kendall's becoming this like West Virginia folk hero for bringing us back to life in the Liberty Bowl.
Do you guys think
I think Scoot would probably.
Well, I was going to say, do you guys think that we are potentially developing a relation, do you guys think that we are potentially developing a reputation of being a school that starts a quarterback, and then when we think something better has come along, we start that guy, and now we're probably something better is going to come along, so we get these transfer guys who come in and then we just put them out to pasture?
I don't think so, because I think you could say that about like 85% of college football teams, to be honest with you. Like, I mean, as soon as
there are very few college football teams where the guy plays every year in and year out.
I think we could even point to like Tua and people coming in for like a Jalen Hurts, a couple seasons. I feel like that's every team.
Yeah.
But I think for us, to me, this was actually a bit unprecedented for us, because I feel like usually when we proclaim a starter, that guy is pretty cemented in for his tenure. Don't you think? I mean, I can't think. It's been a while since we, you have to go all the way back to somebody like an Adam Bednarik, and then Pat comes in, where someone truly supplanted a starter. Maybe I'm missing.
I was
somebody,
really surprised because I didn't feel like Neil Brown would be willing to take that risk. Like I feel like he was a guy that, it's kind of like bringing in the guy in the middle of an inning instead of letting him start a clean inning. I think it would be not as crazy if he decided, listen, we're going to go with Austin Kendall for the bowl game because Jarrett Doege hasn't been, producing, or we've not liked what we've seen in practice. But for him to switch it up in the game, I was surprised because I don't know that we've seen that.
So, Scooty, if Garrett Green gets announced the starting quarterback game 1 of next year, are you lacing up the hiking boots?
I mean, this is what I'm going to do.
Are you adding some touches to the camp, or what are you doing?
Are you getting some Cliff Bars and stuffing them in your backpack?
Some extra North Face jackets.
Here's what's happening. If Garrett Green is the starting quarterback, or I don't think they'll ever do this, but even Goose Crowder, one of those two guys is the starting quarterback, I'll start checking the weather to see if the conditions are favorable for climbing. If not, I'm packing things up. We're getting out of there.
Well, I think you can at least be confident, though, that having witnessed what we've witnessed with Austin, moving to Doege, Kendall back in because we're not losing this damn game in the bowl game. I think if you do see something like that, then you have to assume that whoever that person is, Coach Brown genuinely feels like that is the best person to get us victories at that time. I think like you just said, Scoot, the days of someone just saying, well, that guy's been the starter and I'm not going to pull the rug out from under him, even though I think he's, playing like poop lately. I think he's going to make the executive decisions, and I think that's cool. I hope that continues to be the case.
Now, I know you guys didn't like this, but for the brief moments that Garrett Green got in, I felt like he had a little bit of fire in his belly. I felt like I think he actually talked a little trash. And I know that you guys didn't like that.
They were all trick plays. They were all like catchy, like weird. It wasn't like a true, I want to see him run a series or 2 or 3 and be a quarterback. Like the times he's gotten in, it was that weird direct snap thing and all of this other
Scoot,
stuff.
I would just counter that I got aggravated with it because you're leaving out some context that I think is very important. I believe he was talking a lot of smack and jawing at, wasn't that Eastern Kentucky at the time?
Yeah, right. It was like Eastern Kentucky.
That's why I made the comment to you. Now you have to add that context in.
I mean, isn't he from Kentucky?
I don't know. Is he?
I think he is.
Maybe that was part of it.
No, I don't.
Maybe Maybe it was past rivals that he was chirping at.
But I think we also didn't get to see him throw any passes. I think most of that was just running plays. He maybe threw 1 or 2 passes, but I'm still saying, hey, Scoot, don't be surprised if you come out of spring ball and Jarrett Doege's still your man. Because to me, it's the most practical decision considering the amount of experience and not wanting to throw a guy into the fire. Now, I think it would be cool if we see one of the new guys, but don't be shocked. It seems entirely plausible if he's still your guy.
Guido, can we get confirmation on Garrett Green's bio where he's from?
I do not think he's from Kentucky.
Reese Smith
is from Tallahassee.
Well, I'm sure there's a very heavy Florida population.
I mean, Tallahassee's very similar to Kentucky in a lot of ways, but no, he's from Tallahassee.
Known to hate Kentucky, so that's where that animosity.
I mean, it's pretty much a rival to that part of Kentucky.
So moving on, in former WVU coaching news, Johnson, Rich Rod has kind of been in the news the last week or so.
Yeah, I mean, come on. WVU folks love to talk about Rich Rod, right? They never get enough Rich Rod. Right. So I think it was cool. We just took note that he's ended up Terry Bowden has hired him to be the offensive coordinator at Louisiana Monroe. Now, Scoot, I guess he was in the same position with Ole Miss. He's now moving on to ULM. I think his son now looks to be their quarterback. So that's a lot to do with it. And we heard him talk about that during the week on when he joined Pat McAfee on Pat McAfee's show to give an interview. He talked about some of that, where that was he was kind of maybe considering just being finished, and it was a cool opportunity, and he's really looking forward to it. And by the way, we'll link to all that in the show notes, because if you haven't seen him on Pat's show, he actually he said some interesting stuff, Guido, about why he left and the whole move to Michigan. He even talked about the courtship with Alabama a little bit. It was an interesting watch if you haven't seen it.
Do you credit it more to the fact that Coach Stewart and Dana Holgerson took over after Rich Rod as to why we don't talk more about John Beilein like we do Rich Rodriguez? Or do you credit it to the fact that Rich Rod is from West Virginia and John Beilein, while I believe he went to Wheeling Jesuit, wasn't necessarily a native of West Virginia? Why do we harp on Rich Rod and not Beilein? They both left us. They both went to the same school. Both had success. I mean, Beilein really made WVU really nationally relevant after a time where, yes, we had Brent's, final or Sweet 16, but like he'll even tell you that was kind of a blip on the radar when you look at West Virginia basketball nationally. So why do we talk about Rich Rod?
I think, one, you hit it right on the head. Like, I think it 100% has to do with the fact he was the hometown boy. He was coming home. He had played at WVU. It was, there were all of those factors that were built into it. And I think that, and I can speak as a West Virginian and say that can be very naive and gullible sometimes, where we think that people will put the state before money. And I think that we all thought that Rich was going to stay forever because he was West Virginia and we were West Virginia, and those two things never break apart. Where Beilein, I don't, and I can say I felt like when John Beilein came on that we were just a stepping stone for him. Like, I was surprised he stayed around as long as he did, 5 years that he was at West Virginia. I mean, because he had such a great program at Richmond before, and then he, and built Richmond's program up. Then he came to us and was building our program up. And I think we all kind of thought that was going to be, that he was going to move on. But I think with Rich Rod, it had 100% to do with the fact that he was, from down the road.
Yeah, I think I'd probably agree with that. That's probably why people hold that against him a little bit more. I'm just sitting here thinking that, as weird as it sounds, Scoot, I don't know that I've ever rooted against John Beilein, to be honest with you. I mean, he was always such a great ambassador for the school. I respected the heck out of him while he was here. And even though he, would give you, it'd be a perfect reason to just root against Michigan basketball all the time, I honestly don't feel like I've done that. He's always been such a class act, it seems like.
Do we feel like he stepped in and we appreciate him more because of the Dan Dockich situation? Do we kind of put him in a different light because we see that John Beilein was, one, willing to take a chance on us, when the reason why Dan Dockich didn't was because he was saying that, I guess he was insinuating that there were going to be some NCAA sanctions, and then nothing really came of that, and so it kind of made Dan Dockich look really stupid. And still to this day,
yes,
Dan Dockich just saying things makes him look really stupid.
Yes, he takes care of that all on his own, actually. Yeah,
but,
I mean, that probably shapes it some, I'm sure. Yeah.
So, but definitely interesting. Definitely an interesting sort of topic. Well, listen, guys, let's take a break. We'll come back with Bluff the Fluffs, everybody's favorite game show on a West Virginia University sports podcast. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Got Your Ears On. Vortec Knives is a West Virginia owned and operated company specializing in high quality steel, fast opening, everyday carrying knives. If you go to vortechknives.com today and use the code GYEO, you get a 25% discount on your entire order. That's Vortech, VORTEK knives.com, a West Virginia owned and operated company specializing in fast opening, high quality, everyday carry knives. Vortec Knives. All right, everybody, welcome back to Got Your Ears On. Guido along with Scoot and Johnson. Don't forget, you can find us on the social media. Just look for us on Instagram and Twitter at Got Your Ears. You can also look on Facebook. Just search Got Your Ears On. We're there. We're funny. We repost things and then complain a lot. That's pretty much all we do on there. So guys, it's time for the number one game show on a West Virginia University sports podcast. It's a little game we like to call Bluff the Fluffs. And I want to say, we wanted to try something new for season 2, but we got some feedback guys, about our
the
new format.
wagers in the new format, perhaps.
Yeah, a lot of it was about Scoot's inability. I mean, even though Scoot won, I mean, I feel like Scoot should really fight back on this because it did cause him to win in the end. Scoot's ability to sort of one-side the game, and the fact that I think everybody was just confused at all the math.
I don't think we anticipated Scoot's gambling all-in mentality on the points. Like, I think the points were good in theory, but where I'm tend to be conservative in spots, Scoot's all in every time.
I've heard a lot from the gambling and casino industry, and that they're very interested in having me in their casinos,
like
in the near future.
Like,
I want to see Scooty doing like a poker world tour event and watching him like all in, like pushing all the chips in every time.
I'd wear some sort of weird sunglasses.
I mean, Scoots.
Yeah, I'm sure
go
you
big
would.
or
In a
go
backwards
home.
hat.
That's what he was doing.
And a scarf. Right. I'd wear a scarf.
So I think what we'll do is we're just gonna stick with what we know, guys, and go back to the old format. Stick with what works.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for Scoot, that means the coin flip has been brought back.
That's okay.
Which I'm very good at.
Scoot has he's really bad at winning the coin flip, so.
So even though we're going old format, we can't go based on who won last? Okay.
No. I mean, if we're going to old format, we got to bring back the coin flip, I feel. Don't you, Johnson? Don't you feel like the coin flip's got to come back?
Very successful at the corn flip. Maybe that's what we do. In honor of Ames, because since you love Iowa State,
we do a corn flip.
We just do a corn flip.
I'm hoping to get the Husker the Cobb.
Husker Cobb, call it in the air.
All right, so here we go. So, again, since we knew this was coming up, we did a complete and total random flip of the coin before we started. And, Johnson, you won. You get to go first. Boom.
Sweet. Just like old times, Scoot.
Yeah.
So, Scoot did win last week. So, Scoot currently has the lead 1-0 over you on season 2 of Bluff the Fluffs. So, just be concerned. And this week, we're going to do a little something that pays homage to a recent West Virginian that passed away and is very important to the state. A lot of people know the name. So it's all questions this week about the famous historic West Virginia figure, Chuck Yeager. So let's see what you guys know about the man who broke the sound barrier first. Scoot, how you feeling? You a little nervous about this? I mean, you're a history guy.
Yeah.
You love history.
I'm a history guy. I'm sure he was a great guy. Never met him. We'll see how this goes.
He was a legend. He's a legend. Capital L.
I'm not saying he's not, but okay.
A correct answer is worth 5 points. A steal is worth 10 points. And final bluff will be worth 25. And Johnson, first question goes to you. Which of the following sports did Chuck Yeager play in high school? Did he play golf, football, baseball, or wrestling?
I'm going to peg Chuck Yeager as a baseball player.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Scooty for 10 points in the steal. Golf, football, or wrestling?
I'm going to guess that he was probably a football player.
That's correct. Correct answer right there, Scoot. 10 points. Get you an early lead with the football. He played football while he was in high school in West Virginia. Was a star, I suppose, but did not go on to play in the collegiate level. He went on to break the sound barrier. All right, Scoot, this next question is back to you. 2 nights before he was to fly the Bell XS-10 and break the sound barrier, Yeager, A, broke his finger playing basketball, B, was arrested for disorderly conduct, C, broke 2 ribs falling off of a horse, or D, got lost while flying a practice mission that he had to eject from?
That's a good question. Seeing as he was a football guy, I'm not going to say he played basketball. I don't know him personally. Maybe he was a guy that would cause issues out and about in public, so maybe he was disorderly.
He looks like a guy that rode a horse. I'm going to say he broke a rib or something riding a horse. That's correct. He broke 2 ribs riding a horse. Fearing that he was going to be grounded from the flight, he had a local veterinarian tape him up, and he never told his flight surgeon. So he flew the XS-1 with and broke the sound barrier with 2 broken ribs. That's a man for you right there.
Didn't know that.
That's a man. That's a man does
I
that
didn't
kind of
know
stuff.
that. That's actually a crazy story.
Oh, so Johnson, you are down big time. Scoot's got a 15-0 lead on you, and this next question is back to you. In the movie The Right Stuff, actor Sam Shepard played Yeager, but Chuck Yeager also made a cameo in that movie as a refueling specialist, a bartender, a member of the press, or Alan Shepard's doctor.
I don't know this. I've seen the movie, but I certainly can't remember off the top of my head. I'm going to go with a refueling specialist.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Scoot, a bartender, a member of the press, or Alan Shepard's doctor?
I think if I were to play a cameo in my own movie, I think I'd want to be a bartender.
That's correct. He played a bartender at Poncho's, which was like the famous bar that all the test pilots went to before. So he played a bartender there. So good job. Scoot gets another 10 points and is dominating Johnson right now, 25-0. And Scooty, this next question is back to you. By the way, I just want to say, and I don't want to get you nervous or anything, Scoot, by saying this, but you're the first person ever on Bluff the Fluffs to have 3 correct answers in a row.
There's
so
more where
on a
that's
streak.
coming from.
This is like, I feel like this is like, I didn't want to say it because it's kind of like when you throw a no-hitter, but just to let you know, you're 3 for 3 right now on questions. Feeling it. All right. Question number 4, Scoot, is your question. Which of these presidents gave Chuck Yeager his Medal of Honor? Was it Lyndon Johnson, Ronald Reagan, Gerald Ford, or Richard Nixon?
I'm going to say probably a little bit more recent. I'm going to go with Ronald Reagan.
Oh. Yep. Sorry, Scoot. Johnson, back to you for 10 points in the steal. Was it Lyndon Johnson, Gerald Ford, or Richard
Wow, this is
Nixon?
tough. I would have guessed the same thing that Scoot said. And I feel like this is an odd answer, so I'm going to go with Richard Nixon.
Sorry, that is incorrect. The correct answer is Gerald Ford. Gerald Ford gave him his Medal of Honor, the highest honor you can get as somebody in the military, the United States. All right, Johnson, sorry for the miss, but this next question's back to you.
You're free to go ahead and buzz me as the wrong answer if you'd like.
No, I got a good feeling. I will tell you that I think Scoot will steal it if you can't get this one, though. All right, Johnson, for 5 points. Former Major League Baseball catcher Steve Yeager is the cousin of Chuck. He was also co-MVP of the 1981 Dodgers World Series win with which other player? Was it Steve Garvey, Dusty Baker, Pedro Guerrero, or Fernando Valenzuela? Who was he co-MVP with?
In 81, let me think about these players. 81. I think 81, I'd want to go with Steve Garvey.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Scooty for 10 points and the steal.
I'm going to go with his battery made Fernando Valenzuela.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's incorrect as well. The correct answer is Pedro Guerrero. They both hit like 4 home runs in that World Series. Both Steve Yeager and Pedro Guerrero. And Steve Yeager, by the way, also from West Virginia, Huntington, in case you didn't know that.
Pedro Guerrero, not.
Pedro Guerrero, not from West Virginia. Correct. That's correct. No points there, Scoot. Sorry about that. All right, Scoot. This next question is back to you. Originally, when Yeager joined the Army, he was not allowed to be a pilot because A, he was too short, B, he lacked the required education, C, he was left-handed, or D, he was from a state with no Air Force bases?
Well, I think to be a pilot, it makes it easier if you are right-handed. So I'm going to say he was left-handed.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Johnson, for 10 points and the steal, is it that he was too short, he lacked the required education, or that West Virginia had no Air Force base?
I'm going to say he lacked the required education.
That's correct. Back then, to be a pilot, you actually had to have pilot training prior to joining the Army. He did not have that, but that was later lifted as World War II started, and they needed pilots. So he then became a pilot. So Johnson, 10 points there, brings you back down a little closer. Scoot still has the lead, 25-10, as we go into Final Bluff. Now, guys, as you always remember, Final Bluff's worth 25 points, and this time you have to buzz in for your answers, and each week we ask you to have your own buzzers. Scoot, what's your buzzer this week?
Mine.
Okay, all right. And Johnson?
Meow. Like a little plane
Okay,
flyby.
like a little plane sound there. I like it. A little plane. I mean, I think he flew in big jets, but that's a little plane. Okay, we'll go with that.
I'm just saying that's a little plane, that's all.
Look at that plane. Look at that plane sound, Scoot. That's cute.
That's a little
I'm
plane.
just saying that's a little plane.
All right, Final Bluff question here. In 1962, as a test pilot, Yeager got stranded in the Nevada desert with which future astronaut after their jet got stuck in the mud on a test landing? Was it John Glenn, Neil Armstrong, Alan Shepard, or Gus Grissom?
Mine.
All right, Scooty, for 25 points and the win.
It was John Glenn.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Johnson, for 25 points and the win. Was it Neil Armstrong, Alan Shepard, or Gus Grissom?
I'm going to go with Gus Grissom.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. And because we're going back to the old rules, Scooty's the winner. Congratulations, Scoot. The correct answer there would have been Neil Armstrong. And Yeager kind of never liked Neil Armstrong and said that he didn't want to do the test landing. And Neil Armstrong said they had to do it, and they got stuck in the mud and stranded for a day.
Now you're stuck together in the desert.
The only difference is Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. So I don't know who won that one. So congratulations, Scoot. 2 weeks in a row taking a commanding lead on season 2 of Bluff the Fluffs. And Johnson, where's the concern level now?
Oh, I'm not concerned. I can go on a heater at any time. Scoot knows that.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Congrats, Scoot.
Thanks.
Feeling good?
I feel good. I know my Chuck Yeager.
Yeah.
It felt good. I know Josh Yeager. I know a lot of the Yeagers.
You know they're good people.
Yeah.
The Yeagers, good people, good people. Well, listen, guys, let's take a break. We'll come back with a segment that we pretend like we like to do because it makes Scooty happy. It's a little segment we like to call, I Can't Believe My Ears. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Got Your Ears On.
Tactical Legion Knives, a West Virginia owned and operated company that specializes in heavy-duty tactical knives and gear for the professional warrior, the weekend warrior, and the outdoor warrior. Our products are built tough. For who? For warriors. Hey Mountaineer fans, make sure you go on Amazon and search Tactical Legion Knives, and when you do, make sure you put in the promo code 25TOBRADIO for Tob Radio. You'll get 25% off on Tactical Legion Knives.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Got Your Ears On. Guido here along with Scoot and Johnson. And don't forget to check out our website and merch section at gotyourearson.com. Johnson, it's sort of got everything anybody could ever ask for.
Yeah, we had been telling people cross off your holiday list. So now that we're after the holidays, we've had this down period with our COVID issues with the basketball team. Go ahead, relieve your sorrows. You're down. Maybe you're like, man, what do I do on this Wednesday night? There's no WVU to watch. Hit the merch link on gotyourearson.com. Hook yourself up with a hat, a sweatshirt, one of Scoot's favorite fanny packs. It'll help you. You'll feel like you're right back in the moment. So do that while you're on gotyourearson.com. You'll see we post the latest blog post with all the show notes for what we talked about this week, probably even junk we didn't even get to. The links will be all right there. And then you can also listen to the show right in the sidebar through the TuneIn link. So check it out.
Yeah, definitely check it out. GotYourEersOn.com. Every week, we love to find out what Scooty's been reading about on the internet. And it's a little segment that we like to call, I Can't Believe My Ears. What do you got for us this week, Scooty?
Well, fellas, if you know me, you'll know that a lot of these Can't Believe My Ears segments center on some very specific topics that fall into food. Okay, so food. What's another one?
What's another one? Johnson? Piercings.
Florida man.
Piercings. Florida man.
A lot of Florida.
Perhaps world records.
Yes. Guinness records. Yes.
You guys hit the nail on the head with the first topic there. So this is a food-related topic. Okay.
Okay.
How familiar are you guys with world trade?
With what?
World
What?
trade. World trade?
Vaguely.
Trade agreements? Are you familiar with trade agreements?
Not enough to go in detail. No.
I mean, it's not something I would say that I follow. Like, I follow WVU on Twitter and all of the people who talk about it. I don't really follow all the people who talk about world trade.
And what does this
on
have to
Twitter.
do with food, Scoot?
Okay, well, maybe you've heard that Great Britain, the United Kingdom, is looking to get out of the European Union. Have you heard about that?
Okay.
Yes, okay.
Okay. Yes,
Brexit,
I'm familiar.
yes.
They call it Brexit.
Yes.
If you're down, they call it Brexit.
Yeah.
If you're down.
Well,
I know you're down with your
If you're
UK
down.
friends
If you're
and
down,
everything.
You know.
so apparently, as of January, there are some stipulations that some of these other countries, now that Great Britain is trying to leave the European Union, they're kind of getting a little upset with Great Britain.
A little testy.
So they're restricting some items going back into. So if you were to travel to the Netherlands, perhaps,
Yes.
Right.
you're not allowed to bring certain things back to Great Britain.
Right.
Wait a minute. Like, can I still bring my Toblerone?
No, probably not. Nor can
man.
you bring sandwiches. So here lately, customs officials have been confiscating sandwiches from people trying to leave from other European countries going back to Great Britain.
So wait, like people that are like traveling to Great Britain,
Or
packing a sandwich.
yes, maybe for the road, sure. I mean,
Maybe
you're
for
gonna
the
have to take a
road trip,
boat.
for
You're
the
gonna have to take a boat, yeah.
Yeah, or boat,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Those sandwiches are getting confiscated.
Well,
What's happening to them?
I'm going to say they're eating them, but go ahead.
my first thought, so having done some travel to Europe, the Netherlands specifically, one thought I always had while I was there on my trip is how horrific the lunch menu was. Like your lunch options were, you better eat a lot of breakfast because you're not getting anything good at lunch. So when I think about a sandwich I might make there, I mean, am I crying a lot of tears here if I get back and the UK guys slap it out of my hand like, hey, don't bring your don't bring your Dutch sandwich back in here, man. You can't do that.
I think it's the Dutch saying you can't take our tasty sandwich into England.
Oh, like don't try to even try that stuff. Oh,
yeah,
I
like
see what
you're trying to
saying.
smuggle our sandwiches.
Like, hey, what do you got in your pocket there, buddy?
Right.
Is that a cucumber sandwich? Well,
It's
hand
not
it over.
England saying no. It's these other countries saying, hey, you can't take any of our meat products back with you.
What if you were coming back? I'm trying to think of like, where would I, like, I mean, a lot of European countries have wonderful food, but like, what would tear you up the most, Scoot? You've been to Monza, you know, like you've been somewhere in Italy,
Yeah.
and you're coming back with like your, you know,
I'm going to say a meatball sandwich.
yeah,
I'm
you're
going to be upset if they take my meatball sandwich.
right. Like, that would probably really break you apart, wouldn't it?
Where I'm from, we'd call it a nice meatball grinder, is what we call them.
Grinder.
So
We call 'em hoagies.
if they were to take my meatball grinder from me, I'd be pretty upset about that.
Let me ask you this though. Here's the bigger question. Now, I will say that out of the three of us, Johnson has probably done the most sort of international flights traveling. He used to have to travel quite a bit internationally for work. Johnson, have you ever made and packed a sandwich to go on a trip somewhere?
No, I've barely been organized to pack all of the things I needed to begin with, so it never would have occurred to me to like Ziploc bag up, some food. Now, I have been in the airport, grabbed a few things like, hey, I'm not sure when I get there what my options are. I'm going to have some stuff, but never like I'm going to wrap this sandwich up. That's going to treat me right
You're not
later.
making a bologna sandwich and taking it with you. On the trip.
No, I've never done that.
I think that's what gets me more, Scoot. Scoot, I can't. Are you making a cheese sandwich, Scoot, cheese and pickle sandwich and packaging it up and then getting on the plane?
I mean, I guess here's the thing. If I think it's better than what I've got to look forward to, right? So if I'm a native British guy and I'm going back home and I know I'm never going to have a tasty meatball sub again like that, maybe I'm taking one with me. Maybe I'm putting one in my pocket. I don't know. But you're stuffing some meatball sandwiches in your pocket? I mean, I'm going to try. If I think it's going to be good, at least enjoy something when I get home.
I could see Scoot leaving what's something we could pick, like Schiphol Airport in Amsterdam. He's flying to Heathrow. He's just been through the Taco Bell. He's got 2 cheesy gordita crunches with him. And they're like, hey, buddy, you're not taking any of that fine cuisine into the UK. We're not allowing that. He's hammering those things so hard at the gate.
Oh, man.
He's like pounding.
Yeah, just crushing those things.
Now, I will tell you, fellas, and this won't come as a surprise, when I broached this topic to my wife, one, she thought this was an exceptionally boring topic to have this as the segment. 2, she found it odd that somebody would take food as well. And I reminded her that I was on a flight from Salt Lake City, Utah to Chicago, in which a man ate for 45 minutes straight from some sort of like Panera purchase he made at the airport. And I mean, it was amazing. We're talking chips. We're talking trail mix. We're talking looked like a panini. I think he had a grilled panini.
Well, I didn't think they let you travel just as an aside. I thought anytime, like if you're coming back into the country and you have to declare stuff, food often will kind of get you on the naughty list anyway, right? You're not allowed to do like produce or any kind of food items, I thought. So I'm not entirely surprised. I just think, to me, it feels very specific of other countries being like, we're getting back at these guys. It's Brexit? Yeah. Oh, Brexit? Really? Well, guess what? You're not taking your ham sandwich back in with you.
Now, Scooty, I feel like, you've talked a lot about, your sandwich from Italy, the meatball grinder that you'd have. Yeah. But I think we should, the European Union, a little bit bigger than that, than just Italy and Britain. I think we should look at some other famous sandwiches. Let's start in Germany, and let me ask you, is this a sandwich that you would want to smuggle back with you? All right, so the Mettbrötchen, the Mettbrötchen, I'm gonna say is the name of the sandwich.
Sounds like I believe they've done very well in the Bundesliga, and they've got some very good players. I believe Jurgen Klinsmann played for Mettbrötchen.
Mettbrötchen. So,
well, what's in a Mettbrötchen?
It's a very famous sandwich in Germany.
Okay,
right?
Some kind of pork.
It consists of Brötchen, which is like a German bread roll, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got a little bit of chopped onion on it.
It's got a little chopped onion. You gotta get the Metten in there.
Right. And it's got Met. It's got Met on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you eat that, Scoot?
Sounds like a meat sandwich. Met is meat. Yes.
Met is raw pork. Raw minced pork.
No, I would not eat that. No, I would not eat that.
Your fave, Scoot.
Your fave, Scoot.
I'm sure they'll let you put a slice of white American cheese on it to help it out.
Raw pork? Yeah, maybe if it was covered in it. Yeah, like a Cheese Whiz.
Oh, now you somehow just made this worse. I didn't think that was possible, but
what else you got?
All right, here we go. Here's another one, Scoot. One more German sandwich here for you. How about the Fischbrötchen?
Oh,
Fischbrötchen.
A fish sandwich.
Yeah, so this is a fish sandwich that consists of
yes, but what kind of fish?
Bread, onion, pickles, lettuce, remoulade. All right, and herring.
Yeah. Okay.
Herring is probably not a fish I would like.
And it might be cold, Scoot.
It's cold.
Yeah, it's cold. That's how a lot of times you'll see like street vendors, they'll just wrap it up in paper. It'll be cold fish with like onions and pickles and stuff, and people love that.
Are you one of those people?
No, I said people, like not me, not me people, but people.
I'm just saying, I think Scoot would have a hard time with some of those.
I would leave those sandwiches behind. I would not take those with
Eastern
me.
European. I don't think he'd be worried about getting those
What
sandwiches.
What
back
if I tried to like sabotage the customs official, thinking that he's trying to take my sandwich and he's going to eat it?
A sandwich saboteur.
Right? He just wants my sandwich because it looks tasty. And I give him one of them fish et bratons. And
you're like, joke's on you, buddy.
Yeah, have some herring. Yeah.
Here's some herring and some raw pork for you, buddy. Well, unfortunately, I feel bad for the Brits that are trying to get back into their country and not having the ability to bring back a tasty sandwich. So thanks, Scoot, for letting us know. We'll be prepared next time we go
if you're
travel through the European Union.
Going from Europe, some other European Union country, to England, you're going to have to leave some things behind.
All right. Well, listen, guys, hopefully next time we get to meet again and talk, there'll have been at least a basketball game played.
Please.
So that's the hope. Right now, we're scheduled on Saturday the 23rd to play Kansas State in the, I like to yell really loud, Octagon Bramblage Center at 4 p.m. That game is going to be on one of the ESPNs, so ESPN2 or ESPNU right now. So definitely check that out. Keep your eyes peeled to Twitter, Instagram, all those places where we post at Got Your Ears to see if there's any change. We'll let you know. And don't forget, check out our website, gotyourearson.com, for more information. We'll be back next week, everybody. Thanks for listening. You've been listening to Got Your Ears On.